it all started last year, the last Hen Harrier Day online that we did last year. I had the idea of maybe hopefully getting a Nest camera into a nest of Hen Harriers and being able to broadcast that live online for this year's Hen Harrier Day, which ended up being partially successful, but I'll go on to that. So yeah, that was the idea. I then, during the winter, researched lots of cameras, setups, and equipment and things that I would need, and the legislation that I would have to adhere to. We researched many different cameras, but ended up looking at a system that relied on 4G, because Hen Harrier nests are very remote and far away from civilization normally, but often are up on hillsides that have good 4G coverage. So I plumped for a 4G system that has a solar panel built in, or separate, but you can link them together. And they're very small, they go in the nest, and then so we had that delivered, and I'll show you the camera just now. So that's how small the camera is.
Ooh.
So that's it.
Small is beautiful.
It is, and even the solar panel's quite small. So that's how big the solar panel is. So very small, inobtrusive. We didn't want to spook the birds too much with having a lot of kit in their nest. So anyway, the spring came, and we identified an estate which wasn't particularly keepered, and we knew it would be a safe nest to put a camera in, and it wouldn't be disturbed by anybody walking past. So we then started to monitor the Hen Harriers, whether we'd get a nest this year or not. So I spent hours and hours on a hillside watching over this territory, and luckily got eyes on an actual nest. So then it was a case of waiting for when we thought there would be eggs, and then I went in with the camera after she'd laid the eggs and attempted to put that in the nest. So all was fine. We were getting a really good picture from inside the nest, but the female was not having it. She was not happy at all. So I made the decision. She wouldn't settle back down on the eggs. So I made the decision up on the hill to go back in and quickly take it out and get out of there as quickly as I could. But I didn't want the eggs to chill or anything. So I got the camera out really quick and retreated. Then a few days later, put the camera overlooking the nest. So that's fine. And we were hoping to get some food pass images and things like that. But then the signal went off and we couldn't access the camera remotely at all. So again, went back up again, and all the kit had been trashed, had been trampled on. We think, we still to this day don't know what or who did it, but we think it was probably a deer that had maybe got its feet caught around the wires and stuff, and it had trampled on it. It was all the metal parts were snapped and things. Not something a Hen Harrier could have done. And we think if a person had come across it, they would have took the equipment away. So yeah, it was very odd. So we had to order new parts, and then by the time the new parts came, we did then put the camera in the nest. The chicks were like half grown, and then we got some really fantastic footage from that point onwards. I'm really glad we persevered with it, because I was on the verge of giving up, because it seemed like everything was against the project at that point. But no, we got some really good footage after that, and you might have seen quite a lot of it on social media. We tried to put out. So yeah, and I've seen they've all fledged since, and I've since been up and removed the camera, as you've just seen. That's now in my possession. So it was half successful, half not, but we've learned a lot of lessons to go forward for next year. I don't think I'd put the camera in as early next year, or try to put it in as early. I'll wait till the chicks have hatched at least, and also put the solar panel probably a bit further away, just so that she's less spooked. But in the end, it did work really well.
Hi, Andrea. Gosh, the amount of hours and effort that you put into setting that Nestcam up was incredible.
Yeah, it took a while, especially when I was up on the hill monitoring where the birds were and trying to get eyes on the nest. That's what took the time. But yeah, finally got eyes on where they were going down and located it. So that was a good feeling.
Hi, Andrea.
Hi, David.
Why are we so worried about hen harriers? Why do we need to even bother doing nest cams?
Well, as you said, the numbers are really depleted in this country. They do okay on the continent, but in this country, we use our uplands in a different way than they use their uplands on the continent. Quite a lot of our uplands are keepered for red grouse shooting. So because hen harriers nest on the ground up on the moors, and they eat young red grouse chicks, as well as lots of other birds in their diet, and mammals and reptiles, as you say. But because they do eat red grouse chicks as well, that puts them into direct conflict with gamekeepers. So they do tend to get persecuted. They're probably one of the most persecuted birds of prey in the UK. And so we try to help to protect them as much as we possibly can, to raise awareness of their plight. And that's the whole reason for Hen Harrier Day, is to raise awareness of their plight, and there's other animals that suffer in the uplands as well, because it's a whole range of environmental issues up there. So yeah, that's why hen harriers, and also because it's really difficult to put a camera in a hen harrier nest and get some good footage, because they're so remote, because they're far away from any power source and far away from civilization. They're really difficult nests to try and A, find, and B, get kit in there and get successful footage from. So yeah, that's why.
So you obviously need a great amount of skill and knowledge to set this up, but can anyone go and monitor nests if they want to?
No, you have to apply for a license. You can apply for there's two different licenses, and not everybody can get these licenses. So I've got experience in monitoring raptor nests. Generally, I've worked alongside raptors for a number of years as well. So yeah, you can. Some people can apply for these licenses to either monitor them and disturb them, and or photograph them. So they're two different licenses. And it's a long process to get these licenses, but not everybody can go up to a hen harrier nest and disturb them. That's illegal. They're very heavily protected by law.
Amazing. And they are so remote as well. And how did you actually feel when you were going out there into that habitat? Were you afraid at all?
I suppose there is an element of fear, because you're worried of bringing attention to the nest, especially if there's a road nearby or other people might be walking past on a nearby path. So there's that. Also, the females can be quite aggressive at the nest if there's young chicks. They're very, very protective of their young. So quite often they'll swoop at your head and they're calling continuously, and you have to wear a hat. Anybody that's monitored hen harriers will know that you have to put a hat on just to protect your head, because they're that vicious occasionally. Oh, I've just got a peaked cap that I pop on, just anything, just to provide a little cover for your head. But yeah, they can be quite aggressive. And this one that at the nest was very aggressive. I could see it in her eyes. She wanted to kill me. She was desperate to kill me. But yeah, and there's also an element of like privilege, because hardly anybody's seen these birds, never mind approaching a nest and seeing the babies and the eggs and things. So you do feel massively privileged to see these nests up close.
So, Andrea, what's happening for 2022? What are the plans? Because we know you had a few sort of minor failures with this year. So what's going to happen next year?
Yeah, it wasn't massively successful this year, apart from at the very end where we got some really good footage. But yeah, I've learned a lot, and I think going forward, I'll certainly look at buying some more kit that works with 4G, because that's worked well. But it needs to be something that you can live stream. The whole process, the whole point of setting this camera up was to live stream the nest, so that the public could see the chicks hatch and emotionally invest in the chicks. And that didn't work so well, just because of the camera's capabilities. So I'll probably just try and research something similar but one that you can actually live stream. So hopefully next year, the public will be able to watch live into a hen harrier nest.
Well, I'm sure, Andrea, that all of us here and everyone watching will wish you luck for 2022. So thank you very much.